Ever wondered which star's light was extinguished too soon? What happens when fame collides with fate? Number 12. Paul Walker, Speed and Tragedy. Did you know that Fast and Furious wasn't just a movie title for Paul Walker? It was November 30th, 2013, when the world lost one of its most beloved actors in a way that seemed too ironically cruel to be true. Paul Walker, known for his role as Bryant O'Connor in the Fast and Furious franchise, was leaving a charity event for his organization Reach Out Worldwide. The event was raising funds for the victims of Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. Walker wasn't driving, he was in the passenger seat of a Porsche Carrera GT, with his friend Roger Rodas behind the wheel. The car was traveling at a speed between 80 and 93 mph in a 45 mph zone when it crashed into a concrete lamp post and two trees on Hercules Street in Valencia, Santa Clarita, California. The impact was so severe that the car burst into flames. Both Walker and Rodas died at the scene. Walker was only 40 years old when the accident happened. He was in the middle of filming Furious 7, which had to be completed using CGI and his brothers as stand-ins. The movie ended with a touching tribute to Walker, with Vin Diesel's character bidding farewell to Walker's Bryant O'Connor. The song See You Again by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth, created specifically for the tribute, became a global hit, symbolizing the grief felt by fans worldwide. Walker left behind his daughter, Meadow, who was just 15 at the time of his death. The tragic irony of a man famous for playing a street racer dying in a high-speed car accident wasn't lost on the public, making his death all the more poignant. Number 11. Kobe Bryant, Helicopter Disaster. Can a foggy morning change basketball history forever? January 26, 2020 started like any other day but ended as one that basketball fans will never forget. Kobe Bryant, the legendary Los Angeles Lakers player, boarded a helicopter along with his 13-year-old daughter Gianna and 7 others. They were heading to a basketball game at Bryant's Mamba Sports Academy in Thousand Oaks, California. The helicopter, a Sikorsky S-76B, took off from John Wayne Airport in Orange County at 9:06 a.m. The weather conditions that morning were particularly foggy, with visibility so poor that the Los Angeles Police Department had grounded its helicopters. Despite the conditions, the pilot, R. Zoban, continued the flight. At approximately 9:45 a.m., the helicopter crashed into the side of a mountain in Calabasas, California. There were no survivors. The impact and the subsequent fire destroyed the helicopter. Investigation later revealed that the pilot may have become disoriented due to the fog. The world mourned the loss of Bryant, who was only 41 and had retired from professional basketball just a few years earlier in 2016. Bryant's death sparked an outpouring of grief from fans, fellow athletes, and celebrities around the world. Memorials appeared not just in Los Angeles but globally. The phrase Mamba Forever, referencing Bryant's nickname Black Mamba, became a rallying cry for fans honoring his memory. The tragedy was made even more heart-wrenching by the death of his young daughter, who was following in her father's footsteps as a basketball player. The other victims included 2 of Gianna's basketball teammates, 3 of their parents, and an assistant coach, all headed to a youth basketball tournament. Number 10. Princess Diana, pursued to death. What happens when the most photographed woman in the world tries to escape the camera's eye? August 31, 1997 became a date etched in global memory when Princess Diana's Mercedes crashed in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. Diana, her companion Dodi Fade, and driver Henry Paul were fleeing from paparazzi on motorcycles who had been pursuing them from the Ritz Hotel. The Mercedes was traveling at an estimated speed of 65 mph, more than twice the 31 mph speed limit of the tunnel. The driver lost control of the vehicle and collided with a pillar in the tunnel. Fade and Paul died instantly. Diana was alive when emergency services arrived, but suffered cardiac arrest during transport to the hospital. Despite efforts to save her life, including heart massage, she was pronounced dead at 4 a.m. at Pitti Salpêtrière Hospital. The only survivor was Diana's bodyguard, Trevor Rees-Jones, who was severely injured. The aftermath of Diana's death saw an unprecedented global outpouring of grief. An estimated 2.5 billion people worldwide watched her funeral. Elton John performed Candle in the Wind 1997, a rewritten version of his song about Marilyn Monroe, which became the second best-selling single of all time. Investigations into the crash revealed that Henry Paul was over the legal blood alcohol limit and had also been taking antidepressants. The combination likely impaired his ability to drive. The role of the paparazzi in the accident has been a subject of much debate and controversy. While they were initially blamed for causing the crash, the official investigation concluded that they were not directly responsible, though their pursuit certainly contributed to the circumstances. Diana's death led to changes in privacy laws and press ethics in many countries. Her legacy lives on through her humanitarian work and her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, who continue to honor her memory through their charitable efforts. Number 9. James Dean, Rebel Without a Cause. How does a rising star burn out in an instant? On September 30th, 1955, Hollywood lost one of its most promising young talents when James Dean died in a car crash at the age of 24. Dean was driving his new Porsche 550 Spyder, which he had nicknamed Little Bastard, on his way to a car racing event in Salinas, California. He was accompanied by his mechanic, Rolf Wutherich. At approximately 5:45 p.m., Dean was driving west on Route 466, now called State Route 46, near Chalem, California. A 1950 Ford Tudor, driven by 23-year-old Cal Poly student Donald Turnipseed, was traveling east on the same road. Turnipseed made a left turn onto Route 41, directly into the path of Dean's Porsche. The resulting collision was almost head-on. Dean was pronounced dead on arrival at Paso Robles War Memorial Hospital. Wutherich survived with serious injuries, and Turnipseed escaped with minor injuries. Dean had just finished filming Giant, his third major movie, and was looking forward to a career that promised to be stellar. His previous films, East of Eden and Rebel Without a Cause, had already established him as a talented actor with tremendous appeal. Rebel Without a Cause was released posthumously just a month after his death, cementing his image as the quintessential troubled teenager. Dean received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor for his role in East of Eden, making him the first actor to receive a posthumous nomination. He received a second posthumous nomination for his role in Giant. Dean's premature death transformed him into a cultural icon symbolizing the restless and rebellious youth of the 1950s. His famous quote, "Live fast, die young, leave a beautiful corpse," though not actually uttered by him but attributed to him after his death, seemed to presage his fate. His Porsche 550 Spyder gained a reputation for being cursed after parts of it were sold and allegedly caused more accidents. Number 8. Natasha Richardson, A Skiing Tragedy. Can a seemingly minor fall on a beginner's slope be fatal? Natasha Richardson's death on March 18, 2009, shocked the world because it stemmed from what initially appeared to be a trivial accident. Richardson, a Tony Award-winning actress and member of the renowned Redgrave acting dynasty, was taking a beginner skiing lesson at the Mont Tremblant Resort in Quebec, Canada. During the lesson, she fell and hit her head, but initially felt fine and refused medical attention. About an hour after the fall, she began experiencing a severe headache. Recognizing that something was seriously wrong, she was taken to a local hospital before being transferred to Lenox Hill Hospital in New York City. Richardson had suffered an epidural hematoma, a condition where blood accumulates between the skull and the brain's covering. Despite emergency neurosurgery, Richardson was declared brain dead and was removed from life support. She was 45 years old. Richardson's death highlighted the dangers of what medical professionals call talk and die syndrome, where a head injury might initially seem minor but can rapidly become life-threatening. Her husband, actor Liam Neeson, was filming in Toronto when the accident occurred and rushed to be by her side. Her organs were donated as per her wishes. Richardson came from a distinguished acting family. Her mother is actress Vanessa Redgrave, her father was director Tony Richardson, and her sister is actress Jolie Richardson. She left behind two sons, Mitchell and Daniel, who were just 13 and 12 at the time. Mitchell later chose to honor his mother by changing his surname from Neeson to Richardson. The tragedy of Richardson's death lies in its preventability. Had she worn a helmet or accepted immediate medical attention, she might have survived. Her death led to increased awareness about the importance of wearing helmets while skiing and recognizing the potential severity of seemingly minor head injuries. Number 7. Ryan Dunn, Jackass star's final stunt. What happens when real life proves more dangerous than stage stunts? On June 20, 2011, Jackass star Ryan Dunn drove his Porsche 911 GT3 off the road in West Goshen Township, Chester County, Pennsylvania, resulting in a fatal crash. Dunn and his passenger production assistant Zachary Hartwell were both killed instantly when the car hit a tree and burst into flames. Police reports indicated that Dunn's blood alcohol level was 0.196%. More than twice the legal limit in Pennsylvania. Additionally, reconstruction of the accident suggested that Dunn was driving between 132 and 140 mph in a 55 mph zone. Hours before the crash, Dunn had posted a photo on his Twitter account showing him drinking with friends at Barnaby's of America, a bar in Westchester, Pennsylvania. This led to widespread criticism, particularly from film critic Roger Ebert, who tweeted, "Friends don't let jackasses drink and drive." Dunn was 34 years old at the time of his death and had made a name for himself as one of the daredevil performers on MTV's Jackass series and movies, known for performing dangerous and often disgusting stunts. His death was mourned by his fellow Jackass cast members, particularly Johnny Knoxville, who considered Dunn one of his closest friends. In a cruel twist of irony, a man who had survived countless dangerous stunts for entertainment died in a preventable accident. Dunn's death serves as a stark reminder of the real-life consequences of drunk driving, regardless of one's perceived invincibility. Number 6. Aaliyah, plane crash after video shoot. Could a few extra pounds of luggage alter the course of R&B history? On August 25, 2001, R&B singer and actress Aaliyah boarded a small aircraft at Marsh Harbor Airport in the Bahamas, headed for Miami, Florida. She had just completed filming the music video for her single, Rock the Boat. The plane, a Cessna 402B, crashed shortly after takeoff, killing all 9 people on board, including the 22-year-old star. Investigations revealed a series of critical errors that led to the tragedy. The aircraft was significantly overloaded, carrying at least 700 pounds more than its maximum weight capacity due to Aaliyah's extensive luggage and video equipment. Additionally, the pilot, Louis Morales III, was not authorized to fly the aircraft. He had falsified records to obtain his pilot's license and had traces of cocaine and alcohol in his system. Perhaps most disturbingly, eyewitnesses reported that Aaliyah had initially been reluctant to board the plane, expressing concerns about its size relative to their luggage. At the time of her death, Aaliyah was at the peak of her career. Her self-titled album, Aaliyah, had been released just a month before the crash and was climbing the charts. She had also begun transitioning into acting, with roles in Romeo Must Die and Queen of the Damned, the latter released posthumously. Aaliyah's death cut short what many believed would have been a legendary career. Her innovative sound and style had already influenced a generation of artists, and her legacy continues to shape R&B and pop music today. The tragedy led to increased scrutiny of small aircraft operations and charter company regulations, though for Aaliyah's fans and family, such changes came too late. Number 5. Vic Morrow, Twilight Zone helicopter disaster. How did a Hollywood set become a death scene? On July 23, 1982, veteran actor Vic Morrow and 2 child actors, 7-year-old Micah Dinla and 6-year-old Renee Shinya Chen, were filming a scene for Twilight Zone, the movie, in Indian Dunes, California. The scene depicted Morrow's character rescuing two Vietnamese children from a village during the Vietnam War as a helicopter gunship hovered overhead. In a tragic turn of events, pyrotechnic explosions on set caused the helicopter pilot to lose control. The helicopter crashed with its main rotor blades decapitating Morrow and Le, while one of the skids crushed Chen. The accident happened around 2:30 a.m. during the filming of a night scene. The fallout from this horrific accident was extensive. Director John Landis and 4 other crew members were charged with involuntary manslaughter, marking the first time a director had been criminally charged for deaths that occurred during filming. After a 9-month trial, all 5 defendants were acquitted, but the case led to significant changes in safety regulations for the film industry. The accident revealed that the production had violated numerous safety protocols, including hiring the child actors without proper permits and having them work illegally at night. The children's parents had not been fully informed about the dangerous conditions of the scene, which involved explosives and a low-flying helicopter. Morrow was 53 at the time of his death and had enjoyed a successful career spanning 3 decades, most notably starring in the TV series Combat. The tragedy cast a long shadow over Twilight Zone, the movie, and remains one of the most disturbing accidents in Hollywood history, serving as a grim reminder of the potential cost of cutting corners on set safety. Number 4. Cory Monteith's Hotel Room Heartbreak. What secret demons was the Glee star battling? On July 13, 2013, Cory Monteith, known for his role as Finn Hudson on the popular musical TV series Glee, was found dead in his room at the Fairmont Pacific Rim Hotel in Vancouver, Canada. Monteith was 31 years old. When he failed to check out as scheduled, hotel staff entered his room and discovered his body. The British Columbia Coroner's Service determined that Monteith died from mixed drug toxicity involving heroin and alcohol, a lethal combination that suppressed his nervous system and led to his death. Monteith had been open about his struggles with substance abuse, which began when he was just 13 years old. By 16, he was using anything and everything as much as possible. He first entered rehab at age 19, encouraged by his mother and friends who staged an intervention. After achieving fame through Glee, which premiered in 2009, Monteith maintained sobriety for some time but relapsed. In March 2013, just months before his death, he voluntarily entered a treatment facility for substance addiction. He completed the program in April and seemed to be on a positive path. At the time of his death, Monteith was in a relationship with his Glee co-star Lea Michele. His death deeply affected the cast, crew, and fans of the show. Glee paid tribute to Monteith with a special episode titled The Quarterback, which addressed the death of his character but deliberately did not specify how Finn Hudson died. The show continued for 2 more seasons without him, with several emotional references to his character throughout the remaining episodes. Monteith's death highlighted the dangerous nature of addiction, particularly the risks associated with using drugs after a period of sobriety, when tolerance is lower. Number 3. Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter's last encounter. Could a usually mild-mannered creature end the life of a wildlife expert? On September 4, 2006, Steve Irwin, the beloved Australian wildlife expert known worldwide as the Crocodile Hunter, was filming a documentary called Ocean's Deadliest at Bat Reef near Port Douglas, Queensland. During a break in filming due to bad weather, Irwin decided to snorkel in shallow water to get footage for his daughter's children's television program. While swimming near a stingray, the animal, feeling threatened, struck Irwin with its tail spine, piercing his chest and heart. The barb caused a massive injury, and despite immediate efforts from his film crew and emergency responders, Irwin died before reaching the hospital. He was 44 years old. The freak nature of the accident shocked the world. Stingray fatalities are extremely rare. Irwin's death was only the 3rd known stingray-related death in Australian waters since 1945. Stingrays are generally docile creatures that only attack in self-defense when they feel cornered or threatened. Irwin had built his career on close encounters with dangerous animals, particularly crocodiles, earning him his famous nickname. His enthusiastic catchphrase, "Crikey," and his khaki outfit became instantly recognizable around the globe. Through his television series and conservation work at Australia Zoo, which he co-owned with his wife Terry, Irwin brought wildlife conservation issues to a mainstream audience. Following his death, there were reports of stingrays being mutilated by people seeking revenge, something that Irwin's family spoke out against, emphasizing that he would never have wanted animals to be harmed in his name. His legacy continues through his family. His wife Terry, daughter Bindi, and son Robert all remain active in wildlife conservation and television, carrying on his passionate advocacy for animals and their habitats. Number 2. Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator's final lap. How can the last lap of a race change motorsport forever? On February 18, 2001, NASCAR star Dale Earnhardt was competing in the Daytona 500, the premier race in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. It was the final lap of the race, and Earnhardt was running in third place behind Michael Waltrip and his son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., both driving cars owned by Earnhardt's team. As they approached Turn 4, Earnhardt's black number 3 Chevrolet made contact with Sterling Marlin's car, causing Earnhardt to lose control. His car veered sharply to the right, hitting the outside wall at approximately 160 mph, and was then struck by Ken Schrader's car. While the crash didn't look particularly severe compared to many in the sport, it proved fatal. Earnhardt, 49, died instantly from a basilar skull fracture. Earnhardt, known as the Intimidator for his aggressive driving style, was one of NASCAR's most successful and popular drivers. He had won the NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship 7 times, tying Richard Petty for the most titles in the sport's history. His death sent shockwaves through the racing world and led to significant safety improvements in NASCAR. The most notable change was the mandated use of the head and neck support (HANS) device, which helps prevent the type of injury that killed Earnhardt. NASCAR also improved barrier technology, introducing the steel and foam energy reduction safer barrier, commonly known as the soft wall, which absorbs impact energy during crashes. Additionally, NASCAR began requiring black box-like data recorders in all cars to better understand crash dynamics. Earnhardt's death marked a turning point in NASCAR safety, and in the years since, no driver has died in a NASCAR National Series event. His legacy lives on not only in the safety improvements he inadvertently inspired, but also through his son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who continued racing until his retirement in 2017, and through the continued operation of Dale Earnhardt, Inc., the racing team he founded. Number 1. Sharon Tate, Hollywood horror story. What happens when a rising star's life is tragically cut short? On August 9, 1969, actress Sharon Tate, who was 8.5 months pregnant with her first child, was murdered along with 4 others at her home at 10,050 Cielo Drive in Los Angeles. The victims included Tate's friends, celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring, aspiring screenwriter Wojciech Frykowski, and coffee heiress Abigail Folger, as well as Stephen Parent, a visitor to the property's caretaker. The murders were carried out by members of the Manson family, a cult led by Charles Manson. The killers, Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian, stabbed, shot, and beat their victims to death in one of the most shocking crimes in American history. Tate, who was just 26 years old, was stabbed 16 times, and the killers wrote "pig" in her blood on the front door of the house. Tate was an emerging Hollywood star at the time of her death. She had appeared in films such as Valley of the Dolls and The Fearless Vampire Killers, the latter directed by her husband, Roman Polanski, who was in London at the time of the murders. The crime not only ended a promising career but also the life of her unborn son, whom she and Polanski had already named Paul Richard. The murders sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond, marking what many consider the symbolic end of the peace and love era of the 1960s. The Manson family members were eventually caught and convicted for the Tate LaBianca murders, the latter occurring the night after the Cielo Drive killings. Charles Manson, though not present at the scene of the Tate murders, was convicted of orchestrating them and sentenced to death, which was later commuted to life imprisonment after California abolished the death penalty. He died in prison in 2017. Sharon Tate's sister, Deborah, has worked tirelessly to keep her memory alive and to advocate for victims' rights, ensuring that the Manson family members remain in prison through her presence and testimony at their parole hearings. Have you ever stopped to think how quickly life can change, even for those who seem to have it all? Does fame provide any protection against the random cruelty of fate?